What if I told you there's a woman in Nigeria whose food is so sweet, men abandon their wives, pastors cancel service, and even police forget their duty post? But what they didn't know is the food was never meant for them. Would you eat food that everybody is obsessed with? Even if something feels off, tag a foodie friend that would fall for this kind of food immediately. It all started like a joke. One quiet Monday morning in Umuchi, a sleepy town tucked somewhere between Anambra and Enugu, a widow named Mama Ofili, popularly known as Big Mama Aroma, opened a small food stall by the roadside. No signboard, no fancy umbrella. Nobody knew where Big Mama Aroma came from. One day, she just appeared at the corner of Umuchi roundabout with one small wooden table, one giant metal pot, and one tiny plastic chair that always looked like it would break under her weight. But never did. She didn't shout, didn't greet, didn't smile. She didn't beg anyone to come. She simply opened her pot, and the aroma traveled across the town like a prophet's voice. She made only one dish: white rice, goat meat stew, and fried plantain. That morning, the breeze from her pot began to spread like gospel. A Danfo driver slammed brakes in the middle of the road and came down, sniffing like a lost dog. People on Okadas began to slow down. One man even parked in the middle of the road and removed his helmet just to sniff the air. "Who dey cook like this?" a conductor shouted, sniffing so hard he almost fell out of the bus. An old woman with no teeth turned and said, "If it's not wedding food, it must be from heaven." Even two madmen stopped fighting across the street just to turn and inhale. One whispered, "You smell 'em too?" The other nodded. "If not dream, make them no wake me." That day, Big Mama Aroma served only one thing: white rice, red goat meat stew, and soft plantain. Simple food, no fried rice, no shaki, no decoration. But people were licking plates, asking for extra stew like it was gold. She scooped her rice and stew like she had a timer in her brain. Within an hour, 10 people gathered, then 20. By noon, the line stretched down the street like election queue. Big Mama didn't say much. She just served plate after plate, smiling softly. Her voice was calm, warm, almost like a lullaby. "Testam, you go understand." People did, and their lives were never the same. By 2 p.m., her food was finished. By 4 p.m., a man had fainted outside her stall. He woke up and said, "Please, just one spoon." Big Mama Aroma only smiled and said, "Come early tomorrow." Before we continue, tell me in the comments, what's that one food you can never say no to? Let me see who among you this pot would have chosen. The next day, the line doubled. Office workers in suits, traders, even one police inspector with a potbelly joined the queue. One young banker said, "I swear, this rice is spiritual." Another man dropped on his knees after his first spoon and shouted, "Mama Aroma, marry me!" Things got weirder. One teacher from the local secondary school abandoned his SS3 mock exam and ran to buy a second plate. A pastor postponed Bible study. "God knows my heart," he said, licking pepper from his palm. Even the local government chairman was spotted eating directly from a takeaway bowl inside his car. Eyes closed, like he was hearing angels. But the hunger wasn't normal. People couldn't sleep. Men began sneaking out at night, muttering, "Just one more spoon." Some hid plates under their pillows. Others ate in secret like they were cheating on their wives. And every time they begged, Big Mama's reply was simple: "Na only who hunger catch they understand good food." Some people were crying after eating. One man knelt down and said, "I have eaten in London. I have tasted food in Dubai. But this rice is not ordinary." By Friday, fights broke out in the queue. One man slapped another for taking his position. A woman fainted when they told her the rice had finished. People were becoming addicted. And it wasn't even jollof. After just 1 week, the entire community began to notice changes. Men were no longer shouting at conductors. They walked with slow joy, like jazz was playing in their heads. Their clothes looked shinier, their voices softer. One man, who used to slap his children for fun, came home with balloons and called his wife Honey Sugar Chicken Heart. His wife fainted. Twice. Another man, a landlord who never reduced rent, suddenly told his tenants, "Don't worry about this month. God is good." People started saying Big Mama Aroma had anointing oil inside her rice. Even the pastor tried to invite her to church for testimony. But when the pastor ate her rice, he didn't go back to church. He started selling all his suits to help the elderly in the church and began sleeping under her table. Soon, her customers started behaving strangely. They would return at 7 a.m. before she even opened her pot. They would stand in line, humming to themselves, smiling like mad people. One man wore agbada for 3 days because he didn't want to leave her area. One night, a customer named DK came back by 10 p.m. knocking on her table. "Big Mama Aroma, I just want to smell the pot. Please, just the aroma is enough." People laughed at first, but laughter turned into concern. Was this ordinary food or something else? That was when the wives came. At first, they complained in whispers. "This rice that makes my husband clean kitchen overnight isn't normal." Then it became war. They stormed Big Mama's stall in groups, with wrapper tied, voice raised, and anger hot. "Big Mama, leave our husbands alone. Which kind food be this way day charm person? Return our men." One woman poured cold water inside the stew. Another tried to drag her husband away, but he knelt and cried, "Leave me, I love her rice." It got worse. A married man used his child's school fees to buy 3 plates. Another was caught hiding stew in his office drawer. Single girls also joined the protest. "Big Mama, I beg now. Not only men they enjoy this your food. Why our own no they sweet like this?" Big Mama Aroma just laughed gently and said, "The pot chooses who it wants. That sentence spread like fire." Some laughed, some feared, but one woman didn't joke with it. Her name was Chiamaka, and she decided to investigate. She was a sharp, no-nonsense woman, a hairdresser by day, a prayer warrior by night. She wasn't afraid of anything. Not even cockroach. She said, "Even if it's jazz, I will find the root." But she was also a serious nosy park, the kind that could sniff gossip from 6 villages away. She noticed something strange. All the men obsessed with Big Mama's food had one thing in common. They were known womanizers, cheats, or emotionally wicked men. Her cousin, who once called his wife useless, now cleaned floors just to get a plate. Another man, who abandoned his baby mama, came crawling back from Abuja just to beg Big Mama for rice and stew. Chiamaka began to suspect this was more than hunger. So one night, after everyone had gone home, she waited behind a mango tree near Big Mama's stall. It was almost midnight when she saw the widow quietly carry her big black pot and walk deep into the bush behind the Catholic church. Curious and terrified, Chiamaka tiptoed after her, hiding behind trees. She held her wrapper tight, heart pounding like generator on full blast. She followed Big Mama Aroma deep into the bush. The crickets were loud. The moon looked like it was minding its business, and even the wind refused to blow. After 30 minutes of walking, Big Mama Aroma entered a small clearing where an old clay pot sat under a banana tree. Suddenly, she stopped. She dropped her pot gently on a flat stone surrounded by old cola nutshells, broken clay cups, and, wait, goat horns and red cloth? Then Big Mama knelt beside the pot and began to talk. "Spirit of the forgotten wives, I've brought you men who never say sorry. Men who beat, lie, cheat, and walk away. Feed them. Let their hunger never end." Suddenly, smoke rose from the pot. It swirled, turned black, then formed a face. No eyes, no nose, just a long smile. Then the pot began to bubble, on its own. No fire, no gas, just smoke rising as if the pot was boiling its own secrets. Then a voice came out, a man's voice, deep and smoky. The voice said,
"You have fed me well, Big Mama. Bring me more. Let them beg, let them kneel. Let their stomachs never forget their sins."
Chiamaka nearly screamed, but covered her mouth. She had seen enough. Her legs nearly gave way. Then the spirit spoke again.
"But remember our deal. Only those who have broken women's hearts shall eat and be punished."
Big Mama Aroma nodded slowly. I remember. The spirit groaned like thunder. "You must never feed the innocent." Chiamaka gasped. A few leaves fell around her, as if the trees also heard. She didn't wait. She run like NEPA just restored lights, nearly leaving one of her slippers behind. By now, people were calling it the food that makes men mad. Radio stations discussed it. Facebook aunties typed in capital letters. But something strange happened. One afternoon, a tall, fine boy named Ibuka strolled into Big Mama Aroma's stall. Well-groomed, soft-spoken, respectful. He ordered a plate, sat down, and started eating. 1 spoon, 2 spoons. Then he dropped his spoon and said, "Eat sweet, but not that deep." Silence. Even the flies stopped buzzing. People stared like he just insulted God. One woman fainted. A man muttered, "Abomination." Big Mama Aroma looked confused. Her hands were shaking slightly. That night, she went to the bush again. The pot refused to boil. She added firewood. Nothing. She used gas. Nothing. Smoke rose, then disappeared, like it was angry. That night, the spirit inside the pot returned. This time, its voice was thunder.
"You fed the innocent, the one who never broke a woman's heart. Your time is reducing."
Big Mama Aroma wept. The spirit thundered again.
"Next time I will collect your soul."
Within days, things turned worse. One man sold his TV to buy 5 plates. A married pastor was caught stealing from the church to pay for rice and stew. A rich politician went missing for 2 days, found sleeping under Mama Afili's table. The hunger was now an addiction. Wives began packing their loads. A woman left a note for her husband. "Since you've married rice and stew, enjoy your marriage." But Big Mama Aroma wasn't smiling anymore. The spirit was angry. Her body began to shake at night. The pot called her in her dreams. From that day, everything changed. The pot started acting like a jealous lover. One day, it refused to cook until Mama Afili cried. The next, it demanded goat horns before it could boil properly. And then, it began to punish the wrong people. A young mechanic who had never had a girlfriend before ate the rice and collapsed, foaming. A married man who truly loved his wife vomited blood after 1 spoon. Panic spread. People started to whisper. But by then, it was too late. The men who had mocked their wives, who had insulted single mothers, who had cheated and laughed, they kept coming back. Some began to bribe her. Others offered to marry her. But Big Mama Aroma was tired. Tired of pretending. Tired of feeding darkness. Chiamaka, the hairdresser who had followed Big Mama earlier, gathered the wives in the town. They decided to fight back. But one rainy night, she disappeared. The next morning, people found her food stall burnt to ashes. The pot was sitting in the middle of the fire, but it wasn't burning. It was glowing red, like something alive. Beside it was a piece of paper. Written in black charcoal were the words, "If hunger ever calls you again, ask yourself, is it your stomach or your sin?" So it happened that Big Mama Aroma cooked with a purpose, to punish ungrateful, cheating men who hurt women. Because once upon a time, her own husband broke her. And now she's serving justice, 1 plate at a time. That street was never the same again. Till today, nobody has seen her. Some say she ran to Benin. Some say the spirit dragged her into the pot. Others claim they still smell stew whenever they pass that road. And if you ask some men in Omuchi, they'll say, "That rice taught me never to cheat again." And just like that, men began to change, washing plates, sweeping floors, cooking dinner, even massaging legs they once ignored. calling their wives Queen like it was their surname. The fear of Big Mama Stew had reset their brain. Every December, when dry harmattan breeze begins to blow, people say they smell the stew again on that corner in Umuchi. It doesn't matter if there's no pot, no stall, no fire. The aroma floats through the air, delicious, irresistible, but dangerous. Only men smell it, and only the guilty follow it. So next time you smell stew from nowhere, ask yourself, have I broken somebody's heart? Because Big Mama Aroma's pot might still be waiting. Weeks later, in a small town outside Benin City, a young lady set up a new food stall. Same pot, same smell, same plastic tear. But this time, the rice was targeting women who gossip in salons, and after side chicks who date married men and still call them baby with confidence. One bite, and their secrets started falling out like hot dodo from a slippery spoon. And if you know someone who loves food too much, send them this story right now. Let's see if they're brave enough to finish it. If this story gave you chills and laughs, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And tell me in the comments, what's that one food you can't say no to, even if it's cursed? Thank you all for watching. Your support means a lot to me.